In this video, I talk with DIY YouTuber Melanie Ham about how to build your confidence on YouTube, grow your channel, and a new way to monetize your content coming up. Hey, what's up guys? Sean here with Video Influencers, helping you build your influence, income, and impact with online video. And today I'm sitting with Melanie Ham, who is a YouTuber, video influencer, a sewist, a crocheter, and really super passionate about empowering people in their creativity. How's it going, Melanie?
It's great. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing really good. We were just at an event here together, and It's awesome to be able to do an interview kind of talking about how you've built your influence on YouTube. Now, today you have well over 300,000 subscribers, your channel's growing, but can we take it back? Like, how did you get into YouTube, and what's kind of your story being a creative and a crafter as well?
Sure, yeah. So a lot of people ask me if I grew up doing all of this, like if my mom taught me when I was little and all that stuff, and the truth is actually no. I was an adult when I learned all of this stuff, and I'm almost self-taught, like almost completely self-taught. So back a little further, I had a husband who joined the military and left for like a long time. So I learned how to sew and do some stuff at home, just when I had some free time, because I had more free time since my husband was away. And I sort of just got into it, and then we moved, and then he deployed, and then I had even more time to kind of learn, and I learned that in that process, learning how to sew, learning how to crochet, it was like a peaceful time, like a happy, it distracted me from, a little bit of stress there, a little stress with a deployed husband and a baby. So, just finding things that made me happy. It was part of the community. I was looking at all these beautiful pictures online. It was so inspiring. And so that's kind of what got me into it, slowly but surely, just little baby steps. And then, that was 2007, 2008, 2009 is kind of when I was really getting lots of practice and learning my skills and making things and kind of being in that online community space, like Flickr, the website Flickr with all the pictures. That was super big thing then, and all these beautiful fabrics were coming out, and it was such a fun thing, and it was completely an amazing hobby that just brought me a lot of joy, and having that online community. And then we moved far away, and so it was just one of those things. It was sort of a natural thing that happened while some of these other things in life were happening. But that's kind of how I learned how to do the making part of it.
That's awesome. And then when did your YouTube channel start?
Yeah, so I started YouTube December of 2011, and I actually started it because my sister-in-law, she came out to visit us. We were living in Hawaii at that time. Wow. And she came out to visit, and her and her husband, and they came out to visit, and they were hanging out with us, doing Hawaii stuff, visiting the kids, and I was quilting, I was crocheting. I had this little area in our living room. It was divided by a half wall and military housing. It was this little teeny little area, but I had all my stuff set up, and she was like, you need to start a YouTube channel, just show people how you're doing all this stuff, because she was about to quit her job and do YouTube full time. Wow. So she was sort of ahead of me in that way, and she was like, you totally need to do this, do a great job on it since you're already doing it anyway. And so I did.
So that's so cool. So that was your first video. And what was your first video? What camera did you use back then? And
yeah, I used a hand-me-down Canon I think it was a T1i.
Oh yeah.
It didn't have the flip screen, so I'd have to set it up and then put something where I was gonna sit.
Where you're gonna focus.
Yeah. And then put a tape and then sit there and do something, and then try to go back and see was I in focus or was my head cut off? And it was a little tricky, but it was a hand-me-down from my dad, and I had an iMac that had iMovie on it, so I edited with that. And my husband actually does a lot of video stuff, so he was there to sort of help me a little bit. I sort of did it mostly on my own, but he was there as if I needed it, it was there. I knew that when I started, so it made it a little easier to kind of get started.
That's awesome. So then what was your growth like from starting, and also how consistent were you at the beginning? So did you go all in weekly, and then did your channel grow slow at first, or what was it like?
Yeah, at first it was totally a hobby. It was just, I had a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old. So I had little kids, and my focus was really my kids and my family, and it wasn't really like growing a business. I kind of knew it was possible because of my sister-in-law, but I didn't really set out to do that necessarily.
Yeah.
So it took a little bit. I think like the first year was 10,000 subscribers, I think, in the first year. And it was just like trying to be as consistent as I could at that time, but just trying to like have fun with it and make stuff I thought people would be helped by and maybe learn from a little bit. Then the next year, I think it was, I don't remember all the numbers exactly, but it took a little bit to get going because I wasn't like full in making it like weekly videos. It was sort of like when I was able to, maybe 2 a month roughly at first, and then it was 2 years later, December, so then that would be 2013 that I went full-time. So
wow.
it took a little bit to get there.
That's awesome. And then was there any, what was full-time? Like how big were you and what was happening that allowed you to go full-time?
Sure, so it was full-time was 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
It wasn't a full-time income at that point necessarily because I hadn't really done some of the initial things to try to get it to that point. I didn't really look at it that way.
Yeah.
But it was, my husband got out of active duty and we were moving back to California. And he was going to be getting his master's degree, and my kids were a little bit older, and so I knew the possibilities by that point, and I knew what I had already been able to do, and what I'd been seeing my sister-in-law growing her stuff to be, and so I knew it was possible, so I went in full-time time-wise, because I was sort of able to invest that time a little bit, and then that, kind of helped to quickly get it so that I was at a full-time income.
That's awesome. And what were some of the things, now you've been through that process, what are the advice you'd give to up-and-coming video influencers that you maybe learned from that, whether being consistent, and was there anything that like really led to growth? You're like, well, that worked, or maybe some things that didn't?
Yeah, so I think the things that really helped for growth, I had a couple of videos that went like semi-viral, like within the like learning how to sew world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my envelope pillow cover video has got, I think, a few million views, and there were some like key videos that just got a ton of views, and people I think related to it because it's you can see and hear it. So one of the things I really tried to do is make sure that like you could at least see what I was doing, because there were so many at that time, like 2011, 2012, a lot of the video was like super shaky, or you couldn't hear what they were saying and you couldn't really see what they were doing. And of course, like my quality's gotten a lot better over time. It definitely was not perfect then, but you could at least follow along, since it is a tutorial and you really have to like be able to follow along, and people were having a lot of success, and there's a ton of engagement, and that video is still up, and there was like a lot of sharing and happening with that. So I think there were a few key videos that really helped to sort of grow my following, and then the consistency, really helped too, like for people to know that when they come back to my channel, there's going to be a lot for them to find and really use and be able to grow and learn how to do stuff.
That's awesome. And one of the things that you even mentioned in your channel trailer, which by the way, having a channel trailer is awesome. Yours is really good. It instantly says who you are. Thanks. And it kind of gives you a vision for the channel, is you mentioned that you help beginners.
Yeah.
How do you break down, especially for maybe DIY, crafter, kind of art channels, how do you break down your percentages, like how much beginner content you do versus intermediate versus advanced, and knowing that your audience is at all different stages?
Sure. So it's pretty much I would say 80% directed to beginners, just across the board. That's what most people are searching on YouTube for, I feel like, is how to, and it's because they maybe don't know how at all to do anything. So it's like that really base level of like, if it's too complicated, they're not going to watch the whole video. They're not going to get to know me. They're not going to subscribe to my channel. So if they're not having any success and not having any fun, and it's something that seems too hard, then it's going to be a little difficult and it'll be discouraging for people. So I really try to like have a ton of beginner content, but then also the people that have been following me like this whole time have still new projects and new things for them to be able to do and have fun with. But I don't do a ton of like advanced things, and the things that I do, it's part of like a series, so it kind of like it was things that sort of built on itself like over the course of the series. So that sort of helps a little bit to make sure that people feel like they have the tools to be successful in what I'm trying to teach them how to do, and they can have fun with it in the process. But it is a lot beginner content.
That's awesome. Some of the other people we've interviewed and some of the things we've learned too is that sometimes we have like the curse of knowledge. So we sometimes think if you have all these skills now, you can do advanced stuff. that we want to share the most advanced stuff, but then our content doesn't grow as much because in any niche or niche, the largest group of people are beginners.
Yep.
And the advanced is much smaller. So maybe, you know, for those watching, they sometimes are just trying to wow people and impress people and think about like impress their colleagues with the most advanced stuff. When sometimes just that beginner content can be the best content to kind of help you grow.
And a lot of people, like, you know, I try to I do a lot of videos that have been requested by my following, and they're not really requesting those kind of videos.
Interesting.
So they like the sort of like easy, quick, like let's make it in a weekend, you know, they're not so much interested in my YouTube audience anyway. They're not interested in some of the like really high level, more complicated stuff. You know, maybe once they've kind of gone down the journey with me a little bit more and they follow me on Facebook or they're, you know, doing other things with me, then they might ask for some of those more complicated things. But really on YouTube, it's like new projects, yay. Like let's do this in a weekend, and like they're golden, they love that.
That's so cool. Now, one of the things that you've done is you've turned your creativity into a career. And you've monetized your brand, which could be surprising. Like, how could you just, you know, take your passion, put it online and monetize it? How does that break down for you? Like, people know about YouTube ads, but are there other ways that you are able to monetize?
Yeah, so I think one of the big things people ask me all the time, like wait, what do you do? Like, how do you actually make money doing that?
Yeah.
And it's not one thing for me. It's like I have to have a bunch of different things, and all of them combined ends up making enough for a full-time living. So the first thing is YouTube ads. You have enough views, you get, you know, a nice check from Google.
Yep.
And then the next one would be like brand opportunities. You know, I don't get tons and tons of those, and I'm really picky about them, but they do make up for a part of that as well. Also, like affiliate, you know, I pretty much underneath all of my videos, I have Amazon affiliate links to different supplies I'm using in the video or other things that I mention. And then I've done some where I've created videos for other people. So like, it's kind of like a work for hire kind of thing. If they're looking for some content, I basically make it for them and then they pay for that video and then that's theirs. So that's happened a few times. And then I'm trying to think of the last thing, my courses. I have some online courses that I sell and some other sort of ways that people can like go to that next step, that a little bit more complicated or more, it's too many videos in a series to put on YouTube. It's just a little bit more work to put it all together. Yeah. And so that's another way that I'm able to earn an income.
I love that. And so let's hang on that for a second. You're talking about courses, and I actually, when researching you, and we'll link up to it because it's cool to see, so we'll link in the description. You got your courses, they're on a site, and how did you set all that up? How did you learn how to do that?
Yeah, I learned so I think one of the things that YouTubers, and this was I don't really view it as a mistake necessarily because I feel like it was part of the process. It was part of the journey. It was part of just like how it goes when you're learning stuff. You know, I was a maker. I was like learning how to sew and quilt and make things for my kids and all my friends' kids. And like, that's what I love doing. Like that's what I want to do. I want to sit in my studio and like make stuff and then like share it with my friends online. So, you know, if I can do as much of that as possible, that's kind of what I want to do. But I didn't know anything about like running a business online. I don't know what a call to action is. I don't know like affiliate, like all this stuff. I literally didn't know any of it. I went to college. I have an art degree in college. Like, you know, I didn't learn any of that kind of stuff. So I really had to find people who could teach me all that kind of stuff because I did not know any of it. So when I was starting to like really invest in going full-time time-wise at the beginning, and I was researching, you know, online marketers and like how you kind of do this and what are some ways, especially for like the creative fields, because I feel like there's sort of like different ways you can kind of go about it just with the different things and just learning what's going to work best for me and my lifestyle, my audience, my family. And so really the best way that I learned about it was for the event that we're at this weekend from Micheline in the Marketing Impact Academy, and like learning like an email list and learning kind of how to interact with your audience and what do your audience want, and kind of figuring that kind of stuff out. And that eventually you can have online courses and ebooks, and there's like this whole other world that you can also have to help kind of with your income, but also it helps your audience. It gives them more content that they want, and it's like just a way to sort of diversify what you're looking to do. And so I learned how to do it pretty much from that.
I love that. So would you think that it would be something that video influencers watching should pay attention to maybe think about creating their own course related to their niche, or packaging their knowledge or something related to their channel in addition to making videos?
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's contributed quite a bit to my income in the past year. And so that's not only been able to that's helped me make more YouTube videos. You know, like if you have a little bit more, you can invest in better equipment, you have a little more time, you can have an editor, you can have some of these other things if you've got a little bit more that you can kind of like work with that. And the thing is, like, you're already good on video. Like if you're doing YouTube, you already kind of have a lot of those skills. So it's like, you know, if you can like package it up, make it like more and make it super robust, make it something that people would think is really cool, it's just a way to sort of diversify and monetize in a little bit different way when you're sort of already doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and just like make it really awesome so that you feel cool with selling it.
I love that. That's great advice. Well, are you ready for the lightning round?
Lightning round, sure.
Oh, good. I like that because we do the motion. What does lightning sound like? Whoosh.
Right? Right? That makes sense.
It was kind of more of like a whip.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But it was pretty good. I think, but it was great. High five.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. All right. First celebrity crush.
I think the show, Tim, what's that show? Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah, Home Improvement.
Home Improvement, yeah. The kid on that one. I think his name was like Jonathan or something.
Jonathan. Cat or dog?
Cat.
Favorite social network besides YouTube?
Yeah, I love YouTube. I love Instagram. I love the visual part of Instagram.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
What book should every influencer watching read?
Every influencer. I would say every influencer should read a book that makes them feel really inspired and happy. So that could be something really different for everybody, I think. Yeah.
Awesome. What is your favorite documentary or movie?
I just watched a documentary. I'm thinking of the most recent one.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. I watched a documentary on the Eagles.
Okay.
And it was super
The band?
The band.
The Eagles.
The Eagles.
Take it easy.
What is your hidden talent?
My hidden talent. A hidden talent. Well, I guess a hidden talent, I played a lot of volleyball in high school. So,
Nice.
volleyball.
What are your morning rituals? Or like must-dos every morning?
Must-dos every morning: make my kids lunch so that they're not hungry at school. That's the big one. I think planning out my day, making sure that everything is sort of like blocked out and I'm not distracted by things I should not be doing that day.
If you could give a TED Talk, what would it be about?
The importance of making things and creating things, and how that makes your soul so happy.
How has failure or setbacks set you up for success later in life? And do you have maybe a favorite failure that you look back upon now?
Yeah, a favorite. I think failure, it's like, you know, it's gonna happen. Like everyone's gonna fail at stuff. And I think one of the failures, I think some of my early videos, like they're all up there. You can see them all, you know. I'm not very good on camera. Like it's really hard to kind of like connect on camera and stuff like that. So I think, you know, it's growing and it's figuring stuff out, and there's stuff that, you know, that have gone wrong, but you know, you sort of learn from it and move on.
Love it. What advice would you give now to yourself back in high school?
In high school, I think I would say high school, there's so much more beyond high school. There's so much more, and don't be afraid to just be yourself and pursue the things that you love.
Do you have a quote that you live your life by, or that you think about often that you love?
Yeah, have your yes be yes and your no be no. So if you say you're gonna do it, do it.
Do it. Favorite place in the whole wide world and why?
Hawaii, because I lived there, but because it's beautiful and it's warm, and I think it's just the most amazing place, and God had a special plan when he made that place. It's like just so amazing.
I love it. I love it. Lightning round.
Going on over there.
I don't know. Okay, so to kind of sum it up, we want to check your stuff out. Where are you out? And we'll, of course, link everything up in the description below. And what upcoming projects do you have going on right now?
Sure. So you can find me on YouTube, Melanie Ham. That's like a great place to check out all my videos. There's a bunch of stuff in there. So if anything, you know, making, crocheting, sewing, all that stuff, that's all there. Also, I think on, you know, Facebook, I do Facebook Live, you know, every week. So that's a pretty good way, especially if you have any questions. That's a really good way to sort of like find me over there. And then all my courses can be found at melaniesmakers.com.
Awesome, awesome. Now, could you just share like a final, and actually before that, I just kind of want to acknowledge you for putting yourself out there. I love that you were courageous and you started probably before you were ready, just like we all did, and that now you're inspiring so many people and empowering so many people in their creativity. Your content is amazing, and so thank you for everything that you do. But could you give a final word of encouragement to the influencers watching to go make and create and share their influence with the world?
Yeah, I think, you know, go for it and be consistent and do what you feel like you know is right in your heart, because there's going to be things that you know, my videos need to have this in it, and, you know, kind of go after that, because that's going to set you apart from the other people doing the same thing that you are. So that conviction that you feel in your heart is really what you should pay attention to, that intuition you have, and go for it, be consistent. And when people are saying to you those doubts that you might tell yourself that you shouldn't be doing this, or what are you doing, just know that you're on the right path and to keep going.
You just landed the plane.
You were stunned.
You took us all the way in.
Boom chicka wow wow.
Boom chicka wow wow. Do 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 do.
That's all I know.